And apparently there's so many people who don't love DocSend. It's like they literally hate that. And that's something what we didn't plan in a way. So our marketing is a lot of alternative marketing. And any business who I meet now or founders with whom I speak, I always ask if they're alternative to you, which is bigger than you, from which you can kind of take a bite.
Welcome back to Horizons podcast, where I convince marketing leaders to spill their secrets for the rest of us. Today, I'm joined here by Iuliia Shnai. Iuliia is an expert in academia who spent 10 years in that field before starting her journey launching products, including Papermark and a LinkedIn tool that has become quite popular as well. Iuliia, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Nate.
My first question for you is, if you go back before your doctorate and even before your master's, you built a product, if I'm not wrong, to communicate feedback in the classroom. What first sparked that interest in building things?
This one was super inspired by one of the professor we had. He lead kind of creativity course. And, there's mostly in university, you have these professors, which I divide on two types. One, it's just passing through you without any impact. And the others who really bring something new or inspire some curiosity in you. And that was one of the person. So he kind of shared this idea during his class, oh, that would be cool if I could instantly get the feedback from you, yes, while I'm teaching you. And then it's got interesting for a couple of people, including me, or maybe we can build some system. And at those point, it was probably 2012 or 10 or something. So we had no really Wi-Fi in the audience, proper Wi-Fi. So we decided that we're going to run the server from one of the computers. And there's going to be basically the link on which if people connect to this server, like you connect to Wi-Fi, you can start asking questions just during the class. I think approximately at that time or after these big companies start growing like Slido or some other, which and it's become a thing. They become beautiful feedback system on their big audiences or conferences. But at the moment, it was just super built on the kind of without fancy stuff.
That is awesome. Isn't it fun what you can do? And it's so cool that even in the days before AI made things easier, in the days before even Wi-Fi was easy, you could still build things and you could still make the world a better place in these little ways here and there. That is awesome. How did you find that first experience of building?
I think it was very cool. I was not kind of a developer at the moment. I was more setting up the things together. But I would say you would need to understand more than as developing with the AI now, because the things are much more basic. I'm even a bit jealous to the people, who was a bit older than me and, who was maybe born early and get into this tech when it was so raw in a way. So we don't have anymore this kind of beauty in a sense. So we're already working on top of so many layers, which make it comfortable to work. So you don't need to work with the technical stuff or physical stuff or setting up the things. I'm sure majority probably already don't know how to manage the computer or in a way, but me included.
It is crazy. You think back to when I was first getting into computers, you had to defrag your disk to organize the storage space on your computer. And now no one needs to do that. Anything's being done in the cloud and it's probably automatically defragged for us. That's incredible. Yeah. After your academic career, which is also fascinating, you're studying the flipped classroom and education, if I understood correctly. You then started a company called Marble Flow. Tell me more about what was that and how did that come out of your academic career?
So I kind of always wanted a bit of more business side or like business action in my life. So in academia, I decided, okay, as soon as I'm going to finish, I'm going to try some kind of business. And the idea was I'm going to build a startup, but the startup which you imagine, this startup with the funding, with all investors, this type of startup. Yes, beautiful image of the startup. I'm gonna attend all the conferences. I'm gonna be in all events, and that's what I actually was doing. So that was my first startup experience after the academia, and I mostly work on it in Finland. So I try to kind of build it in the ecosystem, so participate in the local accelerators, connect with the local people, with the local events. You go on the local places, yes, trying to raise the capital from the people around there. And there were like number of ideas which evolved from the academia. But what I quickly understood that in startups, everything moving so fast. That's one thing. And second thing, if the customer don't want that, nobody will care. So because in academia, it's completely different. You can do something which maybe you don't even have the customer, or customer don't want that so much, because student is different. Yes, they're not directly paying you.
Yeah.
So in a way, it was like a step to real world, and you understand that it's like completely different.
Which is fascinating, right? The products that are used in a university might not be what the students want. It's what the school wants. And same thing in a B2B setting. It might not be what the employees want to use. It's what is best for the company, or what the purchaser thinks is best for the company. What was your initial product in Marble Flows?
So initially it was kind of a distributed learning platform. So idea was that anyone could connect. So there were courses at the moment popular, like Coursera courses,
Yes.
MIT
The
courses.
MOOCs.
Yeah, MOOCs. So they were popular. And then there were appearing this concept that anyone can build a MOOC by just combining a couple of YouTube videos, yes. And the idea of the platform would be that it will be like the users can build their own courses and then upload, share, and anything like that. There were at the point some MOOCs giving the simple possibilities, or they were building something like that for their enterprise customers where they want the employees to design the courses by themselves. And so this was the concept of distributed learning platform, which was clear quite fast, that not clear who's going to pay for that, not clear how to sell it, to whom to sell it. But that was the idea.
Love that idea.
And that's what I've heard. I was so excited about that idea. That was like, and I saw a couple of attempts of different people trying that. It's never succeed. And at the moment now, the ed tech, most of that is like dead in a way. Like we don't see it anymore. Yeah. But quickly, this idea turned into the more applicable MOOC platform, like course development platform. So that's where we moved from there.
And now a word from our sponsor. It's me. I'm actually not taking any sponsors in season 1, but I just wanted to say thank you for listening. It's been such a joy recording these episodes, and I hope you enjoy them as much as I have. If you would like to support the podcast, the single most impactful thing you can do is leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening. This will help new people discover the podcast. And if you have someone in your life who's passionate about marketing, send this their way. They'll probably love diving into these insider tactics and stories. With that, back to the conversation. Oh, that's interesting. And educational technology is fascinating to me. My first ever job was in education technology, which is funny when you say it fast. It sounds like ed tech. People hear ad tech and then they think you did a lot of money. They're like, no, this is ed tech. Very different space. But it's hard to make money in education technology because there's a lot of money in universities and the more accredited things. But for startup ecosystems, it's very hard to make money quickly unless you're selling into a more established business, which takes a long time to sell into, kind of like a healthcare startup. What was the pivot like? What was that experience going into, okay, now we're doing courses?
So the pivot was like at some point we pivot to creating the courses so that the platform allow just people create the courses. We still wanted to build for the businesses. And then we discovered this niche. So there were popular employee onboarding, but because we don't want to be popular, we decided to go to the customer onboarding. And customer onboarding, it still exists. If you think about someone like Intercom Academy, they have academies. So we basically were selling the infrastructure to build your own Intercom Academy, or I don't know, there's like many HubSpot Academy, one of the most popular maybe. And it's kind of, we sell it like you can use it for onboarding, but education, yes. Some using it for certification of their customers also, if they want to be advanced. What was unclear for us, that it's very vitamin type of thing. Yeah. Only maybe 5% of your customers are really at the level when they want to be educated. Most of them want to be kind of fast in the adoption. And that's you mostly built into the product.
Yeah.
Whereas like education, it's kind of more advanced thing. So what was clear at some point, it's very vitamin. We still sell some licenses to the companies, targeting like Series B type of startups. They set up their academies, but they didn't get so much value out of that. So there's like, and I think, I don't know for sure, but I think that even super academies of these super brands, they like used by 10% or 5% or 1% of their customers, and the engagement and retention, like on all courses out there, is very low.
True. What was your marketing and or sales funnel like in that time period? How did you find those Series B, Series C startup?
So I didn't know anything about kind of product-led growth. I kind of saw how this like popular learning management system like Thinkific or Teachable, they had a lot of content, they were converting people, but because we didn't target consumer, so we decided we're gonna do the outbound, and we did it purely through LinkedIn. And so we did it maybe 1 or 1.5 or 2 years. It was super hard, but we closed around 10 to 20 average size customers, all through spamming. And there's come some good relationships with people through that. But majority, of course, it's a cold LinkedIn campaign, which now maybe you don't even react. At the point, it was a bit more novel, so people still were reacting more on that. That was the only channel we kind of used, which worked.
And how did you settle, because we're going to get later in the interview into some of the testing you've done at Papermark, which is very exciting. How did you settle on LinkedIn for this first company as the channel that seems to be working?
Randomly, I think. Maybe someone mentioned something, yes, and then we understand we hire some company who help us to set up this automation on LinkedIn. And I think they did on parallel the emails. So, and they even respond for you, yes? Sometimes you respond, sometimes they respond, yes? So we had something like that. Very lean still, it didn't cost much money. But like the outreach was very big, yeah? We did it from personal accounts at the moment. It was not like some fake person. Maybe someone recommended us, but at the point, I didn't write on Twitter or LinkedIn. I didn't know anything about that. Like personal brand as a concept was not so known for me. And we use it purely for outreach purpose.
That's awesome. So interesting. And if I'm not wrong, you went through 3 different pivots in the course of Marble Flows. What were those 3 pivots you went through?
So first was this distributed platform, and it was like built by hired by me developer, outsourced developer, not recommended
Yeah.
anyone. Pouring your university money there, so not recommended anyone. Then he built it, and then I could not market it. I could not I didn't know what to do with that. Yes, it's constantly require extra features, so it was a total mess. It was just thrown.
Yeah.
Pivot into this MOOCs or course creation platform, and that we start building already from scratch on their feature requests by some people. So we talk with people and then we build. So it was very, very, very simple. And then what helped us, which I again maybe not recommend 100% to people, get into AppSumo. And so
Yes.
yeah, so we get into AppSumo and we got a lot of users from there. And we kind of build it as an LMS for end user in a way also. But some of them use it for something else, but mostly they use it as an end user. And yeah, that also helped to build the feature. So that was the stage. And then at some point, after doing the LinkedIn sales, we realized that and after we raised already some angel round, we realized that the customer success and sales are going so tough, everything going so tough. Plus, it was coming the crisis time of 2021 when so it was coming next year. And it was clear we either need to raise money or do something. And we pivot into Marble Flows, which become an onboarding platform, because we saw that the customer education is so not used. We thought, okay, we need something which will be built directly into the product. And then we built one more product, which was beautiful. It's very beautiful product. We loved it so much. We put all our experience, but the problem, nobody used that. And then at some point, everything was as expected. We didn't raise capital. This crisis hit, nobody had money, everyone started unsubscribing from these customer education cycles, which we had the people, because nobody had money for that, and it was vitamin product, plus a lot of customer success was just fired at the moment, because that was the roles which was cleaned the first, in a way. And that's it, and we just stay with these 2 products, both working, both with some users, some AppSumo users, and with very small runaway, and they start firing the people and a bit early, and
That is challenging.
shutting it down.
Yes. Okay, there are a few different pieces I want to go deeper on there. The first one is you've mentioned a couple of times that this was sort of a vitamin product. Can you explain for anyone who's not heard that before? What is the difference between a vitamin and a painkiller?
So the painkiller is you cannot live without it. Yeah? Vitamins, we don't even know if they help us. Are they really works with drinking them? Are they really help us? Are they really increase our vitamin levels? Whereas the painkiller is, if you have pain, you need the pill. Yeah? There's no problem. And there's I think you cannot even say 100%, okay, sometimes this is vitamin or this is painkiller, yeah? Sometimes it can be more vitamin or more painkiller, yes? So it's can also depends on where you are, in which conditions. But it's definitely the product where people have a clear problem and they solve that. Here the problem is vague. They want to engage people more. There's the problem of the retention, let's say. But then you educate 5% of people who maybe already retain. That's not maybe even the people who need the vitamin, yeah? So, and I think that in a way, even if the founder doesn't know what's vitamin, what the painkiller, you feel and you can see by the analytics how people using your product. And with that product, we saw that the company set up, they getting like at the periods they use it a bit, then they don't use long, then they use it a bit. The same people also. They like use it a bit, they don't use it at all. So,
which is interesting because that gets into the retention side of things, which is super important when understanding if a product is going to do well or not do well. How are you assessing retention, and were you doing anything to try to like bring people back when they weren't organically coming back?
So we were doing not as good as I would now say, yeah. We were focusing mostly on closing the account. That's one thing. The onboarding of the account was weak to current experience, but that's one of the things. Yes, you onboard the people. It's one of the things. Then you need to check up on them. Checkups we did, but often we saw, oh, yeah, we are doing something, yeah, or oh no, we are. There was even one person who subscribed, and then in 1 or 2 years, their company unsubscribed in 1 year, and they didn't use it all.
Fair.
Like subscribe for, I don't remember. They were like maybe smaller price, but it was like 2,000 to 5,000 per year. So you subscribe for some tool like that, and you don't use it at all. And then of course, and he told me that like you guys should kind of onboard us better, like. And I'm thinking, yes, I think. Because in general, with the business like that, slow, you could like, let's say you close first account for 5,000 per year. Next, you can close for 7, 10, yes, the same account next year. Because you can increase the price like that. They're like very in the system, hard to onboard, hard to set up. But when you already created these courses, invested time, you just don't want it to die. So you want it at least to exist. And if you're the big company, you don't care. Yes. If you pay like 10K for 5K, yes. Or if you pay for that to sustain. That's why there is these companies, customer success companies, which charging hundreds, thousand to build these academies. And I don't know what they have with retention. Yes. People invested so much time and money in creating these courses. So maybe they manage to retain them in that sense.
That is so fascinating. And all of this you were doing from Finland. You mentioned a little bit this, like you're working more in the local startup ecosystem there in Helsinki and investors there. Were you engaging with Silicon Valley, and what was that experience like being farther away? The main reason I'm curious is because I'm based in Singapore, and I feel at times while there is stuff here, it is still quite remote from a lot of the things that are happening in San Francisco and the Bay Area. How did you manage that?
I mean, I think the ecosystem in Nordics quite active. So they have their own investors, they have their own unicorns like Wall, and everyone know about them, and Bolt, there is definitely some money to invest in startups. There's definitely some local system for sure, but 99% of our customers were from outside.
Fair.
We didn't even convert someone in Finland. So because we did this LinkedIn outreach, and Finnish companies were much less engaged in a way in buying than the other customers. So in a way, you work with the world. You don't. So from one side, you engage into events, yes, and that's kind of help you to get to know ecosystem. I met some super interesting founders who fundraised from US also, who moved, yes. This was like because ecosystem is so small, you can meet the founder of Vault, you can meet like this type of founders on Slash. So that's like kind of your connection to there, but you kind of don't work within the ecosystem. So that's in terms of the customers. So you always feel like you are global business in a way.
Which is exciting. Yeah, reaching out to the whole world. That's incredible. So after that first experience, you spent a few years building this company, pivoting a few times, and then realizing this isn't working out. You then took the very unusual step, if I'm not wrong, of spending the next year learning how to code yourself. What led you to that decision?
Yeah, I don't know, depression, suffering. No, I think I was definitely in the bad place when we were closing everything. We didn't even shut up the platforms. We still was supporting. We still like agreed that we support for 1 more year because there's still some contracts and everything, but we basically not working. We don't get any salaries. We don't get anything. And we're not working on promoting, attracting new customers or like pivoting. That's it. That's the cut. We don't do it, but we just support. So in a way, I was like I put everything on that company. So I was thinking, we did so many pivots. We had so many tries. We got some money plus. So it's a bit of responsibility in a way. So you think. And I was like, what I'm going to do with my life. But I always was full of ideas. But the problem that I could not implement, I implemented them always with no code. So if I have...
Share.
And in this company, so we hired the developers, the team, yes. And then I was thinking, okay, this like at the end of the year, exactly the launch of ChatGPT was. So at the end of the year, the launch of GPT was in December. We like a last jump launched a product and some AI form generator based on onboarding generator based on our product and ChatGPT, just like do something like that. And then next year, I decided, okay, maybe I need to attempt the coding again and try to build my ideas. So I start, because from the 1st of January, I start posting on LinkedIn and Twitter every day.
Interesting.
That's the commitment. So I didn't have an idea to code yet. I just like, okay, I'm going to post. I don't know what I'm going to post. Something about my previous business or I don't know. So basically I start posting, and that's bring me in the community of a lot of different people. In Twitter, I saw the people who were like coding themselves and launching their products and the people who making money from that. And I'm like, I saw also a lot of suffering people like I was who built their startup which doesn't work. So this all opened for me the new world. And in 3 months, around March or April, I'm like, okay, I want to launch something cool. I want to try to code. And then I saw this 2 open source project, something for Twitter generator or something. So people were actively building this stuff at the moment. Yeah? It's like the generator for that. And nobody built anything for LinkedIn because obviously nobody cares about the LinkedIn thing. Everyone was building on Twitter because Twitter also had the API, yes, open or something at the moment. It was like for free, yes, to build on top. And I decided, okay, I will just build this small LinkedIn generator. I asked my friend to set up the environment for me, or like at least help me, then ask the ChatGPT, what should I do? And took this project basically, and without understanding yet anything, it works. I'm like, rebuild it for me. And then I started understanding that you can what is in the project. Yes, you see it in the code. First, you like think, why it's so dark. I don't like it in here. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to launch that. And this was super viral, super crazy, like super fun from the moment from the first moment. It was super crazy. And and then I continue building like small stuff like for
It's amazing. And I feel like something I've noticed with various people, because I've built a few of these small things also myself, and it's crazy what you can do, especially with AI supported coding. What I've noticed when I've talked to people is a lot of people feel like, oh, I couldn't do that. Oh, I need some amount of technical skill or some background in engineering, but you really don't. You can just dive in with AI and learn as you go. How would you recommend someone get started in just building some simple tool to make their life a little bit easier?
I think that it's perfect if you have someone who is the developer who just can give you like, I don't know, spend 15 minutes on you and send you, because if you are not a developer, you don't know there is the environment. Yes, you can set up the code editor. Yes, and there the code is kind of living. Yeah. So if you have someone who can spend 5 minutes on you and explain you, like even physically here, that would be the best, because then you can catch everything very quickly. If not, I don't know, there's so many articles. I wrote this article, which is like for dummies, literally, like that you open this code editor. Now you just open the cursor. Yes, I think you set up the cursor, you open it, and then you can start asking the cursor directly in what to do. So I always recommend don't build anything from scratch. Just take someone else's project, open the GitHub, find my project. This LinkedIn is open source, which is built from other open source. So it's not copycat, but still, as this like, take this 1-page project as which doing something like generator is fun, or like some list or whatever, and just copy it and change it, and it's instantly become yours. And that's where the magic, you will feel the magic.
That is awesome. I agree. I think the shorter you can have between starting something to having your first like results on a page, look, I built this thing, that's really an exciting first victory, and then you can build on it from there. When you built this tool, you initially went viral on Product Hunt. A lot of people were checking it out. How did you go from that first version to what you have today, where you can subscribe, you can pay for extra features, you get LinkedIn templates, this whole system? How did you build that out?
So it went viral on LinkedIn actually, but then I launched it on. So the LinkedIn tool went viral on LinkedIn, which we kind of supposed to happen, yeah? And it was just one page, yes, where people select the format for free formats and select something. And then I slowly start building on top of that. So I built, from one side, I built some other project ideas. I was like, okay, something like turn LinkedIn post to blog, or like super small different things, some component designer or something else. But then I also built on top of that. So I decided to add just payment, and yes, first, then to add like first it was just like payment without even subscription. I need manually to add people in the database or something that they have access, in like 24 hours or so. So they pay, and then they're like, I don't have access. Of course you don't, because I don't have database yet. But of course you would not have access. So I was trying to make some work around that, and slowly getting that to something, and then connecting to LinkedIn. And then it's like basically just the process you constantly building on top, on top, on top, on top, on top.
Which is fascinating when you look at that versus your first product. Your first product, perfect, it's beautiful, super well made. To this one, it doesn't even have a working payment flow, but people are paying you money to actually buy it. What would you apply to like future products you build? Would you do more of the make it nicer before you launch, or more of the just go with the most basic thing possible?
I would go with the basic thing, yeah? Because what I realized with Postly, so the Postly appear approximately the same time when the Papermark was built by Mark, my partner. So he's built the first version of Papermark, and I joined kind of on the way. So they were in parallel. I was building Postly, he was building Papermark. And the first version of Postly, yes, or like post generator, was wild. Everyone using it, everyone loved it. Was easy to use, yeah. And then I built Postly more and more and more and more and more. And it didn't market fit. It didn't just hit. So in a way, people always stay loving this like simple LinkedIn post generator and using it like every day, just come in there and use it. Whereas like, and of course now there's more generators, more people put the effort in that. But this bigger product which I built on, I never could get the proper positioning for what it would be. Yes, I was continuously building, approaching it from different sides. The templates hit. People like the templates. But then I personally start not liking the idea of templates myself so much.
Yes.
I was thinking, yeah, it's good. It's inspirational hub, very hard to support and keep on going. And it's just not possible for me to continue market that and promote. And then at the same time, I was a bit working on Papermark, yes. And it was basically the same time when the payments were introduced in both systems, yes. And then we're looking how they grow in parallel. And at some point, so Postly grow to 500 MRR a bit faster, but then it stopped. And the churn was crazy. People unsubscribed super crazy. Whereas the Papermark continue hitting the floor. And then I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do now? I did many attempts, but I think at the end of the day, the Postly become like secondary project, which still exists. There's still some people who use that, but it never hit the market how it could be for many reasons, I think.
That is fair. And I love the weighing of the two different possible options and recognizing, okay, we're getting a bit more traction here. And for anyone who's not aware, MRR means monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah. Monthly recurring.
That's awesome. So then you get into Papermark. You're starting to see it growing a bit more. How did you start developing marketing channels for Papermark?
So we basically with Papermark divide the responsibilities very quickly. So I build for marketing and Mark build for product. So in that case, I also love to build something for product, but I definitely not close level developer as he is, but I still sometimes do, which is harsh. But like we divide these responsibilities, and that's already clear a lot of time. And yes, so it was very clear workflow in a way. So that was good. I understand that it's a bit hard, despite every indie hacker or like solo developer, solo builder, they say you need to do marketing and building, yes. Doing both things good, very, very hard. Still, I'm like amazed with the people, especially who have like 2 or 3 projects, yes, and they run by themselves. But I feel like if you are doing only one side of that, it's still very, very, make it lighter for you.
True.
In that sense. So we clearly start dividing the roles. That helped. So I focused a lot on the marketing and I just experiment with everything what I knew from the beginning. But like both products, the Postly and Papermark, they both like product-led grow products. So we never did outbound. We tested some outbound, but in a way it's getting to the market by the product-led, posting on social. First 10 customers, it's probably friends always, or someone who saw you on LinkedIn and Twitter. In both cases, that's like it is. And then what I think we hit with the Papermark is that it's an alternative to DocSend. So people know the DocSend. It's like a big known brand and company. And apparently there's so many people who don't love DocSend. There's like, they like literally hate that. And that's something what we didn't plan in a way. So our marketing is a lot of alternative marketing. And any business who I meet now or founders with whom I speak, I always ask if they're like alternative to you, which is bigger than you, obviously, which take a big market share from which you can kind of take a bite. This is like very good marketing because people who look for alternative, they are so close to buy, so close.
Yeah.
And I think that was like our main go-to market alternative of the DocSend, open source alternative of DocSend. And
That's incredible. And what a fascinating place to be where people hate the competitor so much. They're literally looking for, is there anything else? And you're there, which is interesting, right? Because often people try to avoid a crowded space, but you actually found a crowded space where the main thing is disliked. And you said, we'll provide a better alternative, which both shows there's validation of the idea and also people are interested in buying something new. How did you build out those inbound marketing channels that you've been exploring over the last year?
So I think that there's like, now if I'm analyzing, so of course a lot of Google help. So we first start ranking on DocSend alternative, yes, from the main page. We still do. That's give us like the credibility as a positioning that we are like DocSend alternative. And then people was not disappointed when they go in because we are really alternative. I would not recommend to do that if your product is different and you're just doing that for SEO. It's not going to help. But like, for example, I was also using this referral tools. There's like one referral tool which is very popular and the other which position themselves as an alternative to this popular. This was no brainer. I just saw the first one was too expensive. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this. Yeah. And I'm not disappointed because I'm seeing that it's not some other tool, which is like just trying to trick me. So I would 100%, and we did it because the product is really matching your expectations in a way. And I always recommend, if you have alternative, just like rank or target the closest one, the one you want people to be with. Because the problem, if they come and they see it's not similar, you will not rank. Because the Google will see the people leaving, they don't like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's not going to help you in a way. So I think that's the main thing, is this alternative marketing with Google. Yes, we also did it the other channels. And I think building the brand name. So we have a lot of big percent of our search, which maybe not so big search at all, but big percent of the search is just Papermark. So, and I think this is like very important. And the easiest to get the brand name out is through social. So if you post on Twitter, if you post on Reddit with your name, yes, but without the link. If you post on LinkedIn, if someone mentioned you on LinkedIn. So people always close the LinkedIn and open the Google and search you. Yeah. So the brand name is important. It's constant mentioning of the Papermark, commenting, and slowly someone told something, and then it started becoming thing. So those two.
I love how your deep understanding of the consumer journey comes through here. You're recognizing like, okay, there are these users who are on DocSend, but they're looking for something else. They're ready to buy. Let's find where they are, meet them there. And you're also looking at like, okay, someone finds it's on LinkedIn. The first question they're going to have is, who is this company anyway? They're going to search for us. We want to make sure that they find some information when they do. That is fascinating.
I think that's very interesting. I still don't understand why I'm doing that also that way. I can read someone post. I read the post. I'm like, I have the name mentioned in this LinkedIn post. I'm not going there. I open the Google and I search this company. And I'm thinking, okay, there's probably people doing that. And we had some posts mentioning us, very kind of big posts, and they get a lot of Google search. But like, we had the link there, but nobody linked to the link. They go on this search.
Which is interesting too, when you are your consumer. I love this in how you're describing Postly. When you are your end customer, you understand the needs of that customer a lot better than if you're someone else and you're trying to guess what they need. You also mentioned by the way, I'll link it in the show notes. There's this awesome tweet that you posted, which is why I asked you to come on the show, diagnosing, I think, like 14 different marketing channels that you've done in the last year, most of which you said did not work and you want to continue. I think there are 3 that you wanted to continue. Powered by links were one of the things that you said you wanted to continue. How did you discover powered by links, and how have you seen that build your marketing?
So powered by, we had it from the beginning in the product, yeah. So that this powered by, or like share docs with the Papermark. But for us, it's like not only that, but in general, how the Papermark works. So people have a document, they want to share it. Often it's a founder want to share the pitch deck, let's say. They use us for free. There's like Papermark, there's like powered by sign, but they share the link. So in a way, they're creating this loop of constant engagement, yes, because they share to someone who they trust, or opposite. So people see, they think, then they trust to that platform. And that's also could cause the effect of Googling again, what's people sending from, but also like people just like get through this button. I would say not so many people get through this button, like powered by. I think again, their behavior is to see that they receive Papermark link. They don't know, or let's say they receive it already 5 times, yes, and then they're like, okay, what's that? And then they Google again, yeah, what is this? And we also have this conversion window at the end. So you go through all the presentation of someone, and at the end it shows you how much time you spend in there, and if you want to kind of get in, so conversion to sign up in a way. So this all leading to this one viral loop with the powered by, with the link itself, with everything.
Which is fascinating because I feel like virality and the idea of a viral loop has been so popular in startups for a long time, but it's hard to actually do that right. Very often virality is quite forced. It's like, oh, tell 10 of your friends, and no one really wants to tell 10 of their friends. But for your company, literally they're sharing the link with their friends as the product. So it's super natural in your product that virality would be an excellent growth engine.
It's definitely the growth engine. Also, like listen to interview of the DocSend founder some times ago, yes. They also have, he talked exactly about this effect. Why the DocSend become a kind of like the name you use even for that, yeah. So it's just because people sharing this link, they constantly seeing the link. Like to all the customers who listening to us, you can use the custom domain with Papermark, so you never lose your link. You're never gonna be the slave of the platform who own your link. So if you think about that, that's the upside.
That is.
But
Yeah,
you
that's
can
an
use for
awesome
free.
feature. That's incredible. One of the channels that you mentioned you didn't find worked this last year, which was quite counterintuitive to me, was reaching out to venture capitalists and giving them a discount code to share with their founders. Why do you think that didn't work out?
I don't know. I feel like one thing, yes, what I'm always thinking, what is there for them? Yes. If you offer some partnership to someone, you need to think not like about real value for them. So real value for them, their startup will receive the discount. Seems not a value for them. Like for many, seems not a value. It seems like they don't care about that. Yeah.
That is interesting. Yes.
So because like there's definitely some funds who reach out to us and they literally, okay, we want discount for our startup. And we give them discount, and next day their startup buy. Yeah, someone through their code buy. And they reach in, yes, they're very focused on that. But alternatively, it's not really happening like that. I think these venture funds, they also feel, maybe it's also in their psychology. So you venture fund, everyone reaching out to you. So you're always in position that founders always getting to you and asking for view in my deck, give me the money. So you are in this position where you have a lot of this reach. So your eyes a bit blurry, and obviously the other tools also offering you something. I know that some other tool writing this like also type of things. And I think if we would find what would really be valuable for them, except giving discount for their startups, some other value. And I think we like constantly discussing that, and we want to work on something more like to give them extra data on all the pitch decks that they receive, yeah? And give additional, like at their AI, that they can analyze thousands of their pitch deck inside or something, yeah? Then maybe that would be interesting for them. But that's more like converting them to our customer or user, rather than, again, that they share. But like if they convert to our customer or user, they trust us more. So they're more interested to share the code with the startups or something, discount, partnership, or whatever.
Which is really interesting. I love that insight that people are not always so focused on money. The discount might matter, but it might not be motivating enough to a particular person, especially if you just got a whole funding round, you're a venture capital funded startup. You might not be trying to save a penny here and there. You might be more than willing to pay for a good product. I'm
Plus,
curious.
you need to learn, the problem that you need to learn. You see this tool, you see this called email, and you need to learn if you don't know, you need to learn what you do, what they do. Am I trusting them to recommend them to my startups? Or there's a lot of stuff involved. At some point when you peak in the awareness of sharing the amount of links, and now we see more and more people receive our links, maybe you kind of get the trust to us. And I think maybe we will come back to that, but just reaching out someone who maybe receive our links, if we know 100% that they know us.
Yeah.
Not
so it's no longer cold outreach.
Not like cold outreach in a way already.
It's smart. And you had done something last year that I also found fascinating, where, if I'm not wrong, you looked at thousands of pitch decks and you analyzed them and published a report. How was that process, and what was the result on your marketing?
0. Not recommending anyone this. I mean, first of all, we pulled our private data, yes, on the pitch decks from our system. We analyzed this data, very valuable data, amount of seconds people spend on the pitch decks, yes, all of that. But apparently it was not, from a couple of investors I heard, it was not insightful enough, so that they, for example, would like to know the time of the length of the decks which received the funding. Not all these decks, which is clever. So you could compare, but we don't have this data. We need additionally survey people in order to understand who raised, who didn't raise through our tool, because a lot of people raised, obviously, but they're not writing to us, "Hello, we raised through your tool. Thank you very much." I mean, very rare someone writing them. I'm very happy about that, but very rare. And so that's I think the thing.
How do you keep an egoless approach to be able to take in feedback like this of someone saying, "I don't think there are enough insights," and not just be like, "No, these insights were great. I had good insights." How do you get around an ego?
Not gonna see the message from me again. No, I mean, it's you need to take the bad feedback, for sure. We receive all type of feedback all the time. You receive good feedback. You sometimes receive just expensive, I hate. You can use for free, yes? The tool is free. Essentially, you can use it for free. But then you receive something like that and you're like, okay, should I get that? That's all type of stuff. So, but the constructive feedback, I told about the pitch deck, it's really smart. I mean, it's really valuable, yeah? And maybe next year when we're doing that report maybe we additionally ask people who raise, who not in the last period, and then we will give much more. But I, in general, feel this reporting stuff, these big white papers, reports, their time is gone. They were maybe 5 years ago, we saw a lot of these white reports, yes, white papers with some data here, data there. I feel nobody cares anymore. And I spoke with one of the women who run also the business, and she gave me similar feedback that the detailed white paper researchers, nobody cares. Bringing 0 marketing result set.
That is. But that's also wonderful to identify that and recognize, okay, this is done, at least for now, moving into the next thing. And one of the things that you put, which I found was fascinating, you put as green, you wanted to continue doing next year, but you also added a note that you didn't feel like it really provided a lot of value for the business, was posting on LinkedIn and Twitter. How do you go about this area of personal brand, and why do you think it hasn't done so much directly for the business?
So it's got from the perspective of the brand, what I mentioned before. Yes. So you write about that you're in some loops, people Googling you, maybe not always the relevant people. Yeah. So there's definitely some effect of the social, yes, which can bring to your brand. Yes. That's definitely. But like I measured the conversions, 0 conversions from these platforms. So we brought mostly free users. Sometimes I find some users and customers like really golden, really good people in Twitter who most often complain about the DocSend. So that's how I find them. And I'm like, oh, you could try our tool. That's like literally what I'm doing. Probably all people who follow see me and like, okay, I just did that morning. So like, but like mostly I didn't see conversions from Twitter. Maybe I saw some conversions from LinkedIn, but it's again creating this like kind of environment, like loop information about you. And LinkedIn people are much more our target audience. On Twitter, mostly the indie hackers, nobody raising, no funds, not much, yes, as you know. But LinkedIn, they're more present. So that's already the step for us. So we still write in LinkedIn, Twitter. But in terms of direct conversion, I didn't see the result. Again, I'm sure someone Googled, get in, and then maybe converted, yes, to the paid.
That makes sense. And I love, especially, I think people can overcomplicate attribution. And it's wonderful to see how you're approaching this without spending all of your time on attribution, but just understanding the basics of here's what seems to be performing best. How do you approach attribution today for this product?
That's like formulated very hard for me. Attribution
Or
is not something I'm kind of, okay, that's what I'm doing.
But what I mean by that is more, how do you know where a customer came from?
Where the customer coming from, or okay.
Yes.
So I have the post hoc, recommend everyone. Of course, I feel like any tool you use, it will not be 100%. It will not give you 100%. But it gives you different type of signs for sure what's happening. And post hoc showing me the sources, and Google is number 1 source for anything. So whatever they do before, they get through Google. And then randomly small amount of people coming through all other platforms, which I'm monitoring, but not investing so much time in. So there's like someone coming from Reddit, someone coming from somewhere else. So this is my main source of information. And then I'm tracking a lot which pages people convert from.
Interesting.
And this, of course, so I have maybe 5, mostly from main page. And main page, it's a bit confusing because it can be DocSend alternative, document tracking. It can be just brand Googling. Yeah, there's many ways why they come from the main page. Not so happy that I don't know 100% what's happening. Yes, but I know most of their entries. Yes, by the keywords on the main page. So why?
Smart.
But then I look at the other articles. So there's like articles which get a lot of signups, but 0 customer.
Interesting. So they only go free. They never go to paid.
So because they attract these free people, which is also good, it gives you traffic, it gives you users, it gives you everything. And then there is this article who really converting people in, yeah? And so, of course, you continue working on SEO. My approach is like very easy. You push the stuff of the good quality pages. You continuously push new pages, finding these keywords, and you bring this fast, okay quality. And then if you see it perform, then you upgrade it, yeah, and improve it.
Smart.
So I think like never I invested in the page more than 1 hour, maybe most of the pages.
Yeah.
Maybe just like this research, which we have very detailed with the DocSend. So every micro feature is compared, but that's our kind of bread. So
yeah,
we need to know that. And with other tools, people, if they figure out the stuff they want, if they compare tools, they want like see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But many other stuff, like how to turn PDF into link. People just want quick. This stuff you can just do and then see, perform, not perform.
That is awesome. I love the way that you have taken such a, what we call a thinking in bets approach, where you're not putting everything into something, but you're placing a bet and then seeing how it works. And if it works out well, you're putting more time into that to make it even better. That is wonderful. One area that I'm fascinated by that you've also talked about is pricing. I think you shared numbers that your highest pricing category is actually your fastest growing section of revenue. How did you approach pricing initially, and what would you change if you were to do that again?
That's amazing that you know all of that, I'm just thinking that this tweet was like some time ago. I probably will not find it without the search about this pricing comparison. But yeah, okay, I forget the question, but just like was amazed. Okay. So how this pricing, so it's the growing category of this price. And
yeah, like how did you decide what price points to launch with? And then would you do it differently now that you're a few years in?
So with Mark, we constantly discuss that. It's like there's no day in our life we don't discuss the price, increase or decrease. So there's only two options. We either decrease or increase or decrease. There's like some days we want to increase, some days we want to decrease. Yeah, so it's like always some signs. In the beginning, I will tell you, it was like, I think year ago or around year ago, we had only one price. It was like 29 or something. And we had at this point today, like something like 7 or 10 customers or something like that, I think. It was only 29. Then we noticed, okay, 29 isn't bringing enough money for it. And as we build the features, yes, I'm like, okay, let's add the higher price.
Smart.
And Mark is like, no, nobody gonna buy. I'm like, nobody gonna buy if we don't have the high price. Of course, nobody gonna buy. But let's add the high price. Just like, let's see. Let's like, I don't know, innovate. So in a way, we added it based on what we were building. And then we add one price more. So it was like something 59 or maybe it was 45 at the beginning or something. It's like, currently it's like 79 per month, 59 if you pay a yearly. Then and then happened the same thing. I'm like, let's add one more price. And he's like, no. And I'm like, if we not add, nobody will of course buy. And so we add this one more price. I think it was in the beginning $199 a month. And of course we look at the DocSend. So how they price that. We obviously want to price cheaper because it's just clear. People complaining price too high, blah, blah, blah. We want to price cheaper. At the same time, what I think is important, and I see it in the many pricing, and people know that, how you position that. So we had the numbers. So we had before 30, and people buy less 30 than 29. That's like simple. I know the company is still doing that. You cannot track it properly.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe you can put 2 proper months, yes, and just compare. But really, this 9 thing is working. So always do the 9. I think also someone wrote, or I read somewhere, 4 and 7. That's the numbers to include in the price. And I saw Intercom, I think. They also make beautiful pricing. And I look at their numbers, and I'm sure they've heard about that. Like, so maybe it's weird, yes? But I have some feeling about that. That you can make one plan more attractive based on how it looks, yes? And which numbers it has inside, and what you're targeting in there. So I think you can hire some magician which explain which numbers people can it's a good investment.
And I love that thinking on Intercom as well, because so often we're doing everything from scratch when someone else has thought about it. And if you can just build on what they've thought about, you don't have to waste the time going through it, and you can focus on the next thing, which is such a great life hack and business hack. That's amazing.
Yeah, in general, experimenting with pricing is great. What is challenging here is like now we experimenting, someone stay on the old pricing, and we like also changed our Stripe account. So we had this like also change, and there's like you have people there, here, there, on the one price, on the other price. Don't show them your current price inside the product if they already subscribed, yes, so they don't feel confused why they pay 199 but current pricing for the same 149, yes, especially if you restart. But like definitely experimenting with pricing, I would do that. And I would also try always, if it's product-led grow business, try to stretch it. Like you see, like what I think with our data rooms plan, yeah, like we considering adding the higher plan, which will be more attractive because people buying this plan, yeah. And probably there is opportunity for growth. Yes, we don't know, but we will never know. Nobody can buy more than 149 if we not. So just try to add more. If people buy the current, you can have some value. Add a higher plan. I think that's okay to do.
That's a powerful strategy right there, because it is very tempting to self-limit ourselves and say, well, I don't think anyone will pay for it. Let me not try it. But just try it. And worst case, they don't buy it. And best case, people start buying it and you realize you can actually charge that price.
You get someone who will buy it. Yeah. And then you are like, okay, someone bought it. I had it. Someone bought it. Okay. That's
money that would be on the table otherwise.
Yeah.
In your look back at last year, one of the things that I was saddest to see did not work was microjewels. How did you find those didn't work throughout the year? And how do you adjust your strategy if you did build another microtool in the future?
So microtools were the big disappointment. I love them so much. They're so fun to build. And for me personally, but they didn't perform. I think for us, first of all, that's the audience. So if you think about that, startups which fundraise, people who set up the data room, I don't even know if the people who gonna listen will know what the data room is like the many files in one place, like Google Drive is the data room, which you can share with the link, but like you can put some security on there. And data room, it's, for example, for merge and acquisition deal. Like you sell in your company, you need some place through which you send the documents, lawyer. So there's like all these serious people, yeah, they don't play with microtools, apparently, yes. And I heard it from some other company, which the marketer from the big other company who's doing the data room sell. Data room is also our market, DocSend also there, but it's mostly for this like bigger players who selling for 100,000 per year. And they say they also build this beautiful, I don't know, some price calculator or something, and nobody cared. Because they just come and select based on some criteria, some fintech people, for example, they target, they have the budget, they don't care, they have this, and that's it. And I see that for many companies, I would still go to microtools. For Postly, microtools work so great. Yeah, Postly were microtool in the beginning, yeah. And then the other microtools convert the people, marketing audience, just go there. But just not for that audience. I think that's like maybe this coming there, but
yeah, which is fair, knowing the audience. And I think you've written about that, of like recognizing the differences between these audiences and thus how you reach them. That brings us to our lightning round. And this is something I like to do at the end of every interview. I'll throw out two terms, choose which one you prefer. And if you want to, feel free to speak to it, but you can also just answer briefly for each one. Phone calls or automated emails?
Automated emails, of course. Phone calls is so bad. You know, it's like I don't know if anyone doing still the phone calls. I'm amazed by you. If you're the founder, yeah, if you're doing the phone calls, and important, you're not the like salesperson before or something. You're this like sweaty like me person who get it basically on the call and like hoping they not pick up because because I'm not ready for that. I'm just, nothing made me so stressed as the phone calls. I did them 5 years ago, or like even 7 in my first startup. I did them from the bathroom. It was very stressful. And then I did the phone calls now, like a year ago, something, or in the summer. Mark also did a couple of phone calls. It was like awful. We're like, okay, we're going to do everything that other methods work. It's just like, no.
I love that. I loved that in your report where it's like, even if this works, this is not something we want to continue doing. We're going to find something else that works instead. Product
Anything.
features or marketing content?
Content. Oh, that's very hard. I cannot. Can we not? In reality, you know why? There's only one reason. Of course, everyone will say marketing content. Yes, 100%. But if you have a feature list where people expecting, they already paid and they wait for feature. Nobody cares. You need to cover up these things. So I think in the beginning, content. I would say if you hit it, people come to you, you build the features with them. In the beginning, definitely the content. But if you have a list of features, like be a good founder to build them. I mean, deliver
That's
the
good
features.
advice. Be a good founder. Build your product.
Build the product, really. Like, don't promise.
Personal brand or company brand?
Again, so hard. Personal brand. I would, again, if you're starting, I would start with personal brand. Yes, without the company brand. Company brand coming in, you mentioned the company, it will come out. Just, you can start with personal brand because nobody cares about the company. Like, especially in the beginning, yes. You, like, if we talk about company brand, like posting on LinkedIn or Twitter from company or your personal profile, I mean, you don't have a chance with the company. It's very hard. I know some people sell that and help you and help your company brand to grow, but so much easier as a person promote your company.
Smart. University degree or startup experience?
Oh, that's hard. I got so many degrees. I don't know. It's hard. Of course, experience. In general, any experience. I would be for any experience. I think any experience is better than any degree. So that's simple.
Fair. And I love the thinking, by the way, just a side note, that as humans, it can be so hard to make a decision, and we can stay between like, do we do this or do we do that? And so often in life, it's not so much do this or do that. It's just like, do something. And as you start doing it, you'll learn and you'll grow, and then you do the next thing and the next thing, and just do something.
Well, just do it.
That brings us to the conclusion of the interview. Where can people go to learn more about you and your companies?
So I'm on Twitter, also on LinkedIn. I'm posting, sharing all the secrets with you. Yeah, and Papermark, definitely for anyone who is like fundraising, sharing the pitch deck, or doing the sales and sharing proposals with their customers. Give it a try. I put our love in the product. There's a free version. I hope you can enjoy it.
Fantastic. And we'll have all of that linked down below, so feel free to check out the show notes. Thank you for being on. This has been such a joy, and I'm excited to see what you build next.
Thank you very much, Nate. It was a pleasure.